The most dangerous thing about gaslighting and narcissism is it causes you to abandon yourself. And staying stuck in this mentality, when it's not true, can cause the same things. You start to question yourself because now you've put this label on everyone when that is not what you needed to do. Well, welcome to Dating Deja Vu, the podcast where we talk about your patterns, your pitfalls, and personal growth in modern dating. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, marriage and family therapist and dating and relationship expert. And in today's episode, we are going to talk about, is it actually gaslighting and narcissism, or is it just a catchy phrase? This is something that I hear all the time. So I'm really excited to talk to you about what it is and what it is not. So if your dating and love life looks a lot of bit of the same, it might be deja vu, but it also might be you. So let's figure it out together. What is up, Deja crew? Welcome back to another episode of Dating Deja Vu. Welcome everyone who's come over from TikTok. I've been loving the love over there. And we have a new couch. Got a new couch in the pod studio. Very excited about that as well. Goes with all of the colors. So I kind of have this whole thing to myself. So I'm not really sure what to do with myself, but whatever. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is where you can see my couch. If you are a listening girly or guy and you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please make sure to follow our podcast and turn that notification bell on so you never miss an episode because your dating and love life depends on it. I'm going to talk about two of the most overused, misunderstood terms that have been such a hot topic. Now, I'm a little bit late to the game to talk about this, but I just think it's so important to define what these two things are. And they are gaslighting and narcissism. And the truth is, just because something isn't like someone hurts your feelings or doesn't necessarily agree with you doesn't mean it's gaslighting, nor if someone is a bit more self-involved and self-centered, that doesn't necessarily mean they're narcissists. There's very small nuances and really big things too, where conflict is conflict, but we often use this as such a dig, as a way to be seen and heard by using these really dramatic statements. And we're oftentimes using them incorrectly. So I thought it'd be really important to kind of bring some clarity to the chaos around this. And the reason why is when you know the difference between narcissism, gaslighting, regular conflict, disagreements, someone who's just maybe emotionally immature. Yes, can narcissists be emotionally immature? Yes, but that's an extreme version of it. But once you can understand it, then you can stop guessing yourself, right? You can start understanding, oh, this isn't me, but also isn't this traumatic thing. This is really what it is. So we're going to talk about that today. So buckle up, baby. All right. First things first, we are going to open up gaslighting. So gaslighting in its specific form is generally emotional manipulation. It is when people cause you to doubt your own reality. So your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, even your memory, right? Your perception of things. And sometimes it feels like they have you questioning your sanity, right? And the thing about gaslighting is it can be very subtle. I feel like I'm being gaslit from this Karen Reed case because it's so stupid, but that's another story. We don't talk about that type of thing on this podcast. But if you want to listen to an awesome podcast that I've been listening to on true crime, it's Serialously. Very good. Anyway, not every disagreement though is gaslighting, right? And not every partner who doesn't validate your emotions is gaslighting you. But when someone kind of says no, that never happened that way, but you're wrong, you made that up in your head, you're acting crazy. And the thing is, they say this all of the time, especially when it is in conjunction with something like you asking for a boundary from them or asking them to explain themselves for something that they did. They, number one, are not taking accountability and then flipping it as if you've made this up, that you've misremembered, that you are being jealous and seeing what you want to see rather than what they say is the truth. So gaslighting can thrive in relationships that have an imbalance of power, right? An imbalance of like low self-trust. Okay. So someone who has had a strong sense of abandonment. And whether you share that or not, I think oftentimes, as we talked about, is it deja vu or is it you? When we have those attachment wounds and have this strong sense of abandonment, and have this really low sense of self-trust, we attract that. We allow that energy to come off on us or from us onto our potential partners. And they pick up on it, right? People who are emotional manipulators, or what does he say? Emotional terrorists, they pick up on that 1000%. And the person who's the gaslighter is again going to figure out, okay, how can I manipulate this person into taking the view off of me? Now, what I explain this is that this is an extreme form of a boundary. And it's someone again who is in this, what I call better than state of codependency, where what they believe is right, their reality is right. They don't need to listen to you. They're not going to take in anything that you say. Their reality is right. Or sometimes they'll create a reality or a presentation of themselves to take any sort of view off of them, right? And in this way, so now I'm in that better than state. Plus, you can't see my flaws because that's what they ultimately don't want you to do. That's why this is a defense mechanism. No, you're not going to see into my insecurities. So I'm going to flip this. And because you're in a less than state, I'm going to flip this back onto you so that you become insecure. Now the view is on your insecurities and your lack of self-worth. So it's very interesting. I want you to recognize that this is a defense mechanism. It's a coping skill that has been learned out of trauma. I'm guessing too that this is either something that they saw and learned vicariously through a parent, or that was done to them. And a part of them said, no, I don't like that. I'm going to take my power back. In order to take power, the person in their family who had power was the gaslighter. So they say, well, I'm going to take power back. I'm going to, in order to be powerful, interact with those who are more vulnerable than me and interact with them in this way. Okay. So say that you saw your partner flirting at a party, right? Not gaslighting would be you saying it made me really uncomfortable to see you talking and laughing with that girl. Okay. It felt really flirty to me, whatever you want to say. The partner can say, like, I get that you saw it that way, but honestly, I didn't mean it to come off like that. I was being friendly, not flirty. We clearly see things differently, right? So that's not gaslighting. We have to remember when people use, you're gaslighting me, really, it's the other person's perception of the situation, not necessarily a gaslighting situation. The person saying that they're being gaslit is actually gaslighting. So, well, in a way, it's invalidating too. When a person says we're seeing things differently, that's not gaslighting because they're not saying your perception is wrong. They're saying I also have a perception. But people will say, you're gaslighting me. And it's like, no, you're saying that actually just invalidated me. But what is gaslighting? Okay. So what it's not, again, is disagreement, tension. There's no like erasure of your experience. Again, just two people having different interpretations. But gaslighting is, it made me really uncomfortable seeing you laughing. It looked flirty. That's you. The partner says, wow, seriously? You're bringing this up? You're imagining things. That's all in your head. You always do this. You twist everything. You need to chill out. You're so insecure, right? Like making it this no lack of accountability. You are the problem. You are bad. You are wrong. I am right. I am good. You should listen to me. And, this gaslighting, again, your perception is invalidated. That is it. It's not that I have a different perception. That is so important for you guys to understand. Your perception is invalidated and treated as wrong, maybe even crazy. Whereas in a normal conflict, we have a difference of perception. No one is necessarily right or wrong. We just acknowledge that we disagree on this situation. So that is the difference. Okay, part 2. Let's talk about narcissism. It's not just a buzzword. So, narcissism, again, is like a grandiose state. It's very much stuck in the better than side of the codependency model. We have better than, we have less than. Both are ego states. And for all of you listening, you all have a better than and a less than state. I know for me, my better than state is going to my intellect, is going to my venom that I could spew because of how I know that, why, like how I know people's psyches and social behavior. I can use that I like very poorly if I wanted to. I don't usually, I just think it in my head. And that's a part of my better than ego state is like I'm smarter than you. Like you will not outwit me. I will out confidence you in something with my words, if that makes sense. That those words, not great for what I was just about to say, but you know what I mean. So there are narcissistic traits. So we have self-importance, right? Lack of empathy, someone who doesn't really understand how other people feel. What else? What else? Need for admiration. So again, this is coming out of trauma for all of us. We have this need for being seen and heard, having love and affection. And for the narcissistic traits, there is this kind of need for I hurt you, then I rescue you type of situation. I think of like the tariffs, or it's like we put all these tariffs and everyone's like, what the fuck? And then the president's like, oh, I'm taking him away. I did all this nice, like I did all these nice things for you. I took away the tariffs. I know that's not how it worked because I don't listen to the news, but there you go. So that's the traits, but actual narcissistic personality disorder. So this comes out of the DSM-5. It's clinically diagnosed. So in the DSM-5, narcissistic personality disorder is characterized by a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts. This pattern is indicated by the presence of at least 5 of the 9 diagnostic criteria outlined in the DSM-5. These criteria include grandiose sense of importance and need for excessive admiration, a lack of empathy, a sense of entitlement, and more. So the key here, you guys, is this pervasive pattern. So it's not your friend who, beat you at a basketball game at Dave & Buster's and being like, I'm so good, you suck, right? That's not it. It's ongoing. It's an ongoing thing. So the problem here is that throwing the word around, though, for every toxic person, so every selfish guy, every failed situationship, every fuck boy, right? Fuck boys are not all narcissists. Sorry to tell you. You're really missing the real red flags, right? Because now you're putting this very specific criteria on everyone when narcissistic personality disorder is rare. It's very rare. And again, like I said, like you will know when it's actually there, and those fuckboys and situationships will be like Bambi to this, like, Scar. Those are the only Disney references I have, because you'll be like, fuck, this person is nuts. They are crazy and it sucks the life out of you. Really, most personality disorders, borderline personality disorder, like you feel it. You leave exhausted or tense. You just leave feeling just icky, not the icky. Okay. So sometimes he's not a narcissist. Sometimes the person is emotionally immature. So let's talk about what that looks like. So not narcissism, but still like conflict and repair mindedness. You really hurt me that you didn't acknowledge my birthday. It made me feel unimportant. So not narcissism. Like I get you're upset. I messed up. I didn't show up in the way that you wanted me to. How can I make this right? So like, I messed up. They're not necessarily, oh, you're right, you deserve better. It's short, but they are acknowledging like, yeah, I fucked up. Like, how can I make this better for you? So the partner is imperfect, right? But they're emotionally available. Not not the most emotionally healthy, but it's acknowledge the issue and ask, okay, I see you, I hear you, I feel I have empathy for this situation. How can I make up for it? But this self-centered narcissistic response is unimportant. Do you know how much I've been dealing with? I can't believe you're turning this around on me, being that I've been under so much pressure. You only care about what you didn't get, and you didn't even ask how I'm doing. Like saying it gives me the cringe. Oh my gosh. I mean, listen, I I struggled with a bit of my upbringing, my mom with some of this narcissistic mentality of like, look at me, admire me, do not see me as flawed, but it's very subtle. So the different forms of narcissism, we have the grandiose, right? So arrogant, dominant, attention seeking, often very charming at first, but entitled and manipulative, really lacking that empathy. Again, there's this strong need for that self admiration, but it's very like outward, it's overt, right? Where we have this kind of covert, vulnerable narcissist. So they're super hypersensitive, defensive, anxious, and introverted. They feel underappreciated. They feel misunderstood. They feel like victims and often passive aggressive. This is my mother. 1000%. It's rooted in deep insecurity and and just shame, right? So with my mom, it's not necessarily superiority. It's look at what I've done, praise me for what I've done. And then when getting feedback of like someone else's experience, it's like, well, it's not all about you. And I'll give you an example. My dad has stage 4 lung cancer and she's caring for him. And there's this like weird, like, I'm the caregiver, but then gets upset if care sometimes is needed, then says things like, this isn't all about him when actually it is. And there's just these like very interesting kind of like, I'm the victim here. He's not the victim. He's not sick, that sick. Like, stop looking at him. He's taking the attention off of me. And when I put the attention on me, it's to care. Like, I'm such a good caretaker, but we're like, actually, you're not, because this kind of conflict in her mind, it shows, like, we can see it. So hopefully she doesn't listen to this podcast. Actually, I don't care. The defense mechanism of that person, again, is withdrawal or like this martyrdom, like martyrness, if you will, to regain control or sympathy. So it's like, oh, I'm the worst, throwing a fit, right? And everyone feels bad. Everyone wants to like take care of them. And then they get back that sense of control. So why does this matter in your healing? When we misuse labels, you stay stuck in your own story, right? You begin to name them rather than reclaiming yourself. Now, the most dangerous thing about gaslighting and narcissism is it causes you to abandon yourself. And staying stuck in this mentality, even when it's not true, can cause the same things. You know, your memory, your gut, your truth. You start to question yourself because now you've put this label on everyone when that is not what you needed to do. But if you are dealing with someone who you think might be, if you question, like, was he or she a narcissist? Ask yourself, did I feel safe expressing myself? Did I trust my gut or override it? Did I lose parts of myself trying to stay? Now, those questions are not always going to completely say, yes, ding, 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 they're a narcissist. You might have your own issues. If you don't feel comfortable expressing yourself, you need to ask yourself a second question. Is this a me thing or is this a them thing? Again, did I trust my gut or override it? Is that a me thing or is that a them thing? Did I lose parts of myself trying to say, if this is a me thing, this is that, right? Because if you're like, no, I stayed true to myself, but they kept coming at me that I was wrong, that I was being nuts, I was being crazy, then that's not a you thing. I lost myself after months and months of enduring that. we have to separate ourselves first, look at how we showed up in the relationship. And here's the other thing, guys. We can, from our own insecurities, cause people to be like, what in the actual fuck? Where we are setting up another person to thus be like, you're fucking crazy. This is nuts. Remember, it might be deja vu, but it might also be you. I have seen many, many times women be incredibly insecure and make up these incredible stories about another person. And their partner is just like, who am I dealing with here? And it's really something that needs to be healed. So, but now that we use these words, narcissist, you're going to be like, you're being a narcissist when really you're the one who's emotionally hijacking. Okay. So rebuilding your trust in yourself. So coming back to good stuff, gaslighting recovery starts with rebuilding your self-esteem. Okay. So if it is true gaslighting, we want to validate your own experience without needing proof from someone else. Like, no, that's my experience. Am I being truthful? Am I being realistic? Am I focusing on the facts? That's my easiest thing. Focus on the facts. What were the facts? Okay, this is my perception of the facts. Okay, that's right. That seems valid to me, right? You could journal to what happened. What I like about this is like just sitting down and thinking, okay, this is what happened. And then looking at that, what's the fears? What are the fantasies? And what are the actual facts? And this also helps you write down what happened in your mind, not what was told happened to you. And then speaking your truth in a safe relationship, even when it feels shaky. So that's moving forward and being like, okay, last time I spoke my truth, I had this person who did discount it. They minimized my experience. They put me down for my experience. While I'm very scared that that can happen again, I know that being in a healthy relationship is me expressing myself. So, in an effort to see how this person takes my emotional feedback or emotional needs, I need to express myself. Again, I tell you guys this all the time. It's the easiest way to figure out if someone is emotionally healthy or not. You also want to give yourself permission not to have to label something to leave it. If you don't need to like diagnose someone with like narcissistic personality disorder just to know that the dynamic wasn't healthy. You can be in an unhealthy relationship and they don't have to be a narcissist. Guys, it is real. Gaslighting, narcissism, they are deeply, deeply damaging when we are dealing with them. But using those words loosely kind of waters down their meaning. And again, as I mentioned, like you really will know it's emotional terrorism. And if you allow for yourself to believe that the guy that just is being a dumbass is a narcissist, then you're going to really have a tough time being in relationships because there's a lot of dumbasses out there. So here's your reminder. If something didn't feel right, that is enough, right? If you had to fight to be believed in a relationship, that is enough. If you lost your voice trying to stay loved, that is enough. So I hope this episode clarifies a few things for you. If you have a friend or someone going through this, please share this podcast with them. As always, if you haven't already, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube or follow wherever you listen to your podcasts. I would love some more reviews. Again, reviews gets this podcast out to more people. The more people who hear it, the more likely you will go on your next date with someone who's a deja viewer or deja crewer. And if you have any questions or comments about this, please, please, please let me know. If you have a question, was he a narcissist or was she a narcissist? I would love to see that. Ooh, I'm going to put that on my TikTok. I'm bored. Tell me something. How do I want to say this? I'm bored. Tell me about someone you believed was a narcissist and I will diagnose them for you. Ooh, that'll be a good one. But other than that, I want you to think about, could this be deja vu or is it you? Talk to you next time.